I'll go straight to the Oz. Now, there's a couple of big stories dominating the fronts. Of course, the Indian catastrophe is one of those, but the other one is this front page in the Oz and the telly, and that is that let the war games begin. That's the headline. And, of course, the first pass, great story here by Jeff Chambers and Ben Packham. Scott Morrison has ordered sweeping upgrades of military training bases in northern Australia to enhance land combat capability and support simulated exercises in a major strategic step up aimed at expanding wargaming with the US and defending the Indo-Pacific. Now, of course, Greg Sheridan, who I regard as the best in the business, his comment piece says the Morrison government is right to beef up defence facilities in northern Australia. They will give Australia a better defence force. And I'm going to make a comment here. Christy McSweeney. I believe Peter Dutton will be Australia's best Defence Minister since Kim Beazley. He's hit the ground running, and all power to Mr Dutton.
I am not going to disagree with you there, Glee. So I think Peter Dutton will be a great Defence Minister for Australia, and I've made the point often. I've even made this point to Minister Dutton himself that there are only two people in the Cabinet. He being the last man standing that was in Cabinet in the Howard government years, who knows how to win 4 consecutive elections from the inside. There is no one else there in that Cabinet with his political capability over such a long term, and he himself has made the point last week in the news that he's only 51 and he's got a lot left in him to run, and hopefully at the helm of defence.
And if we go to the telly, Christy, here in black and white, it says $747 million defence boost to keep peace in the Pacific and bolster the US alliance. Australia's top end will be the front line to counter threats to our north, with Prime Minister Scott Morrison to spend $747 million on key NT defence facilities and integrating troop training with allies, including the United States. And, of course, this comes off the back of the Biden administration taking over from the Trump administration. The alliance between Australia and the United States as strong as ever.
It's a really important alliance, and I think we're seeing here the cooperation between Australia and the US. Labor has tried to drive a wedge through the government, saying that it's particularly is shattering its relationship with the US administration, that Biden is a whole different level. The relationship with the US won't be as strong now that Trump has left office. And of course, they are creating that narrative around climate change policy. But we can see here very, very clearly that the relationship is as strong as ever. It always will be, because Australia has some leverage here. We are the major ally to the US in the Pacific. We are very close with India as well. The US needs us to keep a watchful eye in the South China Sea and have a strategic play with India against China continuing to fund our neighbouring island nations with Belt and Road Initiative infrastructure projects and ramp up their own defence capability. So the relationship is not going anywhere, and it's not at risk over some energy and climate change policies, Glee. So I think this is very evident from the decisions today that we're reading about.